So as Caroline mentioned, my background is in global education, and in addition to my work at SDSN, I teach in the International Education Policy Program at University of Maryland. So from the MDGs to the SDGs, I've long been interested in thinking about issues of access and quality in education, and really breaking down how we can think about each of those terms. So in this quick presentation, I'm going to take you through how we are envisioning those topics within the SDG Academy, specifically thinking about SDG 4.7 and how we can operationalize that target and integrate ESD into education and learning more broadly. So I'll start by saying a few words about the SDG Academy and who we are. The SDG Academy is the flagship education initiative of the SDSN. So when SDSN was founded, the idea was that universities would be critical to making progress towards the SDGs, given the cutting edge knowledge and expertise coming from those institutions. The SDG Academy was then established to harness that expertise and produce resources on sustainable development. Consequently, we have quite the library of resources now, but our work has also evolved over the years into some new directions, which I will describe shortly. In terms of our mission and vision, the SDG Academy is focused on building transformative education. And what we mean by that is education that transforms societies towards a common agenda. So for this, we draw on the UNESCO definition, saying that transformative education involves teaching and learning geared to motivate and empower happy and healthy learners to take informed decisions and actions at the individual, community, and global levels. Essentially taking a note from John Dewey, we ask ourselves, how can education shape more democratic, fair, just, and sustainable societies? I think that we could probably go down a rabbit hole trying to answer that question today, especially in a room of educators here. But our frame of thinking is that ESD needs to be integrated across disciplines and in a whole school approach that embraces institutional, pedagogical, and experiential dimensions. So our intent is to build a multi-generational effort towards achieving the SDGs, which means our work is built around a continuum of education. How can we integrate ESD into early childhood education all the way through lifelong learning? Historically, the SDG Academy has focused on higher education over the years, but we're slowly expanding. Building out that work along the continuum is definitely an ongoing process, and we're far from meeting that goal at this point. But we truly believe that that ESD is more an orientation to learning that can and should be integrated at all levels. All right, so presently we take a three-pillar approach to our work, which includes a focus on content, pedagogy and training, and community. And all of the programs at the SDG Academy fall within these three categories. So our content work is likely what we are best known for. For several years now, we've been producing these massive open online courses, or Moocs. Currently, we have a library of over 40 of them hosted on the edX platform. And what's really unique about our Moocs is that we pull together experts from across institutions, sectors, and fields. We try to make sure that we convey cutting edge expertise, but also that knowledge is coming from a variety of regions and perspectives. So for example, we have Johan Rockström discussing the concept of planetary boundaries. Then we have Indigenous leaders in the Amazon discussing what climate change has meant there. We have Nobel laureate Kailash Satyarthi discussing education for Dalit children in India, but we also have Ban Ki-moon discussing global citizenship education around the world. And so we really strive to capture the most insightful knowledge from academics and practitioners to move us towards achieving the SDGs and to share that out widely. And so here is a link to our Moocs on edX. You can also find this by just Googling SDG Academy, SDSN. The link is there as well. This is just some images from several of our courses. And here are a few statistics on the numbers of learners that we've reached. We are just now over 700,000 learners. Most of the learners are coming from the edX platform, but we also host content on a variety of regional platforms to increase access. So in addition to our Moocs, we also now have a book club with Jeff Sachs. The book club it's definitely more informal education, and it's not our typical audience of learners. So during the pandemic, we saw a need to expand how we think about education and try to do something just as enriching, but in a different format. Something that wasn't just sitting in front of a screen and ticking off learning objectives. And so that's really how the book club was born. And the book club covers a range of topics that are, they're essentially these deep dives into specific human rights issues or environmental issues, et cetera. And it's definitely more learning through conversation and dialogue. All right, so how can people make use of our content? A lot of our content is actually licensed with Creative Commons, so people can download it and use it in different ways. From a learning standpoint, educators sometimes use our content in a flipped classroom model. They might have students take the actual Moocs, or they may just use bits and pieces of our content to stir discussion in class. All of our content can be accessed via the SDG Academy library. So the link is here, but you can also find that on our website. In the library, it's sortable by topic, SDG, author, etc. The content is also available on edX, of course, if you just want a quick overview, but to sort through it and to download it, I definitely recommend exploring our library. So aside from producing our own content, we're also interested in curating content. This area of our work is still being developed, but we hope to eventually be able to host content produced by others and to create sharing platforms where knowledge can move more freely. That's a bit of a new endeavor for us, so there's not too much to share on that yet. Beyond content, we have our pedagogy and training programs. So this pillar of work came about because suddenly we had all these great resources and thought these could be used to really enhance degree programs. So as of 2020, we have an online master's in sustainable development. This is, of course, an entirely online program that we run in partnership with 2 universities, but with the hopes to expand to more. Essentially, what we've done is we work with UCD in Dublin and Sunway University in Kuala Lumpur to develop these programs, which utilize some of our content to offer this online degree. The programs vary from institution to institution, but much of our content is being used, and we've assisted in the curriculum development for each of the programs. So at the core of this effort is, it's providing students a chance to gain an accredited degree related to sustainable development despite geographic or financial barriers. All right, so we are also the Secretariat to the Masters in Development Practice and Global Schools. MDP is a consortium of universities united by a shared curriculum. There may be some people at MDP schools on this call, actually. MDP was actually founded well before the SDG Academy, but we became the Secretariat in 2019. This program is structured so that universities can collaborate and share on how they are teaching development practice. The content is very similar to the online MA, but these are more traditional on-campus programs. Then we also have Global Schools, which represents our K-12 work. Global Schools works to train educators around the world and to localize ESD resources. So there, if you look at the website, there are a variety of lesson plans available. These lessons were developed in partnership with Harvard, and schools around the world are invited to utilize these resources and methods and adapt them to local context. All right, and then the last pillar of our work targets the development of community. So we have a community of practice that is now over 60 members. The community of practice is made up of academic institutions, NGOs, and private businesses with the idea that diversity will enrich the work. So we offer a webinar series with it, a student colloquium, and a space to engage. Members are encouraged to share resources, develop partnerships, and stay up to date with the SDG Academy and SDSN initiatives. So if you're interested in joining the community of practice, we definitely invite you. We should have a new cohort launching in September of this year. So anyway, I think I'm running to the end of my time now, so I'll go ahead and wrap it up and see if we have any time for discussion, but please do reach out if you'd like to get involved in our work or if something might have piqued your interest today.